I want to go ahead and call the meeting to order at 6:01. We stand and pledge the flag. Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
The mayor is on her way, but she is going to be a few minutes late. And before we do the consent agenda, I understand that there. Oh, excuse me, go ahead and do the roll call. Get ahead of myself.
Gallagher.
Here.
Gallagher.
Here.
Gold.
Here.
Page.
Here.
Scarborough.
Here.
Showers.
Here.
Olson.
Just let you know
Freeman.
Present.
Okay, now, there's a correction on the personnel agenda before we approve.
I didn't want to waste the paper for a small change, so on the third line down, where it says approve the hiring volunteer firefighter medic Alex Sheldrake. He is not going to be a volunteer. He is in fact a firefighter medic. So we need to eliminate the word volunteer, and then after his name, at $10 per call, we need to eliminate that. So it should read approval of hiring of firefighter medic Alex Sheldrake, pending background check, drug screening.
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda with the modifications.
Do you have a second? Second. Any discussion? Clerk, call the roll.
Gallagher.
Yes.
Callahan.
Yes.
Colts.
Yes.
Page.
Yes.
Scarborough.
Yes.
Showers.
Yes.
Olson.
Yes.
Freeman.
Yes.
Okay, the mayor had comments under her section for sewer rate or sewer funds. There was a letter in everybody's packet talking about this. And in 2016, the board had received from their sewer rate study that we start setting back $600,000 or $60,000 a year designated. It's still reserve funds out of the sewer funds, but saving them specifically for sewer repair and replacement funds. Currently today, we have all of the sewer reserve funds lumped together. And she would like to see $780,000 of the sewer reserve fund specifically earmarked for the sewer repair and replacement fund. And that would still leave, I think, $600,000 or $650,000 in the sewer reserve that could be for salaries or anything else that we would need to take that out of. So do you want to wait and talk about this a little more in the finance section, Patrick, or?
If it's in the mayor's comments, I'm more than happy to entertain it here,
Okay.
especially since she's asking for changes. We've talked about this before, when we were talking about the sewer rates and adjusting the rate for the next year. We discussed the cost of replacing and repairing the sewer lines. And the only difference that we are proposing now is to isolate those funds in a separate account. Just kind of take the total amount that we have saved up, dedicate some of them directly to repair and replace, and then do operational expenses out of the primary section.
Primary section of reserves.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'm supportive of it. If there's a motion, I'm sorry. What were you gonna say?
I was gonna say, so this is just creating the new fund and taking the amount from the CDs, from the maturing CD, and putting it in there, and then $60,000 at the end of the year. Is that right?
Yeah.
So everything that's in there now would stay in there, but it would be essentially renamed.
Well, portion of
Yeah,
it.
a portion of it will be renamed, and then we will contribute to that annually so that grows. And she did comment in here that when this was done in 2016, that $60,000 annually was in 2016 dollars, not 2026 dollars. So we may need to look at that and adjust up down the road?
And I feel like, I'm sorry,
No, go ahead, Pat.
let me just nail this down. When we receive the output from the sewer consultant, from the sewer rate consultant, that will help gauge what our numbers will be going forward, to make sure we're on track, and we'll adjust if necessary. But that's continuing on with what our last recommendation was, is following what this is. We can use this same structure, dedicated R&R, operational fund, and just adjust the amounts and the contribution amount to each one.
Sorry, Heather.
Go ahead, and I'll wrap up.
Okay, so I'm understanding correctly, these are, right now, this money is in CDs, and the fund we'll be moving it to will not be in CDs, or are we gonna keep this money in CDs, or, kind of broken up within CDs?
It will be in CDs, it's just designated that this bucket is for
Okay.
R&R.
So it's just earmarking it, but it's not changing the way that we'll be,
It's not
any
changing any
interest or anything like
investments or
that.
anything like that.
thank you.
So we only have the seven, oh, sorry, you were gonna.
Yeah, I just wanted to, because the mayor stated we're dealing with $2016, so if we calculate to current exchange, it would be $83,477.07. So that might need to be a topic too, of changing the 60,000 to actually meet a 10-year, 10 years, cost adjustment, just as an input.
I think we'll look at that when we get the full results back from what we're having done currently. But to go off of what was recommended 10 years ago that the board never followed through with, this will catch us up to at least have money earmarked, because as you can see by the picture that Crump left on our desk, that there's a sewer line issue right now. It's not leaking or anything, but it potentially could be, so we're just earmarking those monies.
So just so I understand correctly, so we have 719,000. That's the total in the funds right now, or is that not?
No, that's,
Okay. That's just in the CDs.
she texted me. Let me get you the dollar figure. I think it'll leave about 600,000, because right now there's like 1.5 million or something in
That's
sewer
about right.
reserve.
Yeah.
So we're
Okay.
taking just over half of it and earmarking it for repair and replacement. And
Oh, so you're saying the 1 point whatever million is in CDs?
It is.
Okay, only 720.
Seven,
pull out.
780,
719,000.
780 designated for sewer repair.
Okay, so she wants to designate that immediately.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's a-
I thought she was saying 720 and then 60,000 in December. Okay.
And also, I mean, during that discussion, I think we should also make sure that we're padded for inflation moving forward, and that we can earmark it and modify it if need be, if there are any other emergencies that may pop up.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And I know we'll address it when we start looking at the budget for next year, so that we can appropriately move the correct amount.
If I could just share some numbers with you. In 15 years, we've spent around 80,000 on repairs. Ron and I we're calculating, if you were to replace the whole sewer system in the city, you'd be talking about like 16 to 20 million. What you have to keep in mind with that, and what drives the cost drastically on that, is a number of our sewers are under pavement and under sidewalks. So you're not just digging and replacing those straight sewer pipe, you're replacing concrete and asphalt. And then we have a number of our sewer line systems that are off-road and very awkward to get at in the woods on the street. So you've got that stuff that comes into play.
So I would entertain a motion if somebody wanted to make this change in the reserves.
Yeah, I move that we designate 780,000 to a dedicated sewer repair and replacement fund as they become due in the end of the year.
Second?
Any further discussion? Matthew, call roll.
Gallagher,
Yes.
Callaghan,
Yes.
Colt,
Yes.
Page,
Yes.
Scarborough,
Yes.
Showers.
Yes.
Olson,
Yes.
Freeman.
Yes.
Very good, thank you. No city attorney here. Madam Mayor, you ready to take the chair?
I'm ready if you're at a place where we can.
Yep, we're
Switch.
getting ready to start public comments, so.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Thank you. All right. Pleasant Valley Firefighters Association Ground Zero display. Ooh, good.
Sounds so official.
Just
to trick us.
Right, okay, so as you guys are aware, we have our 9/11 memorial in place now. We added a piece 2 years ago, I think it was. I lost track of time, I apologize. We currently have, and I was gonna print these off, it didn't happen, sorry. So I have them in a picture, I'll show you. We currently have a couple of large twisted pieces of steel left that we've sat as an association and discussed on how can we get these out front and display them versus sitting up in our mezzanine. So I'll show you guys this photo if you want to look at that, pass it around, and then I'll show you the area where we're thinking and what we want to do. As you'll see, they are large, lengthy, twisted rebar, angle iron, mainly why they didn't go inside the towers is they wouldn't fit safely or size-wise. So the association has gotten together and we've come up with the idea of outside of Chief's window on the front entranceway. So the sidewalk does this, and then we have the pavers that leads to the memorial. There's some bushes like this, and then there's a big empty space. And I was just talking to Chris, he's gonna verify that it would be okay to do what we want to do there. To pour a concrete pad, approximately, this space is right where I took that picture, in the black mulch, about 4 foot by 6 foot, and lightly cover it with some mulch so you don't really see the concrete pad like we did with the touch and feel piece of history. And then we've got a couple of kinks to work on how we're gonna actually anchor it to the concrete versus whether we use, I've looked at some things like they use for pool decks and where they'll screw in an anchor and use a special tool. We really haven't had an issue with anybody messing with the memorial and any of the metal, so I'm not too concerned with it, but we will try to take matters to make sure they're not sticky fingers to any means. But we like to place that metal like it's shown on a pad of concrete in this space right outside of Chief's window, anchored to the ground with a plaque similar to the one that is on the I-beam that you can touch out front that just has 343. Represents just the firefighter side of things as the entrance to our station. That is what we've come up with. I know we've kind of had a rolling, kind of work with it project. This would be the last little bit that needs to be on display. And we're just kind of looking for your input, thoughts, care, don't care. But we just feel bad that it's still sitting upstairs now 10 years. I mean, we've got a lot out there, but upstairs not being on display, for us to remember that. And our goal is to hopefully get this done before this year's memorial, so it's on display, whether we have the plaque or not, but to have the metal at least mounted out into the landscaping there. Pending whether, when Chris reviews it, there's nothing there. We don't think there is, but we'll double check before we go, because we're not gonna put anything but like a 4-inch or a 3.5-inch pad. That's 4 foot by 6 foot, just big enough so the steel sits on it. And then, like I said, we'll recover it with the mulch so it'll look just like the landscaping, except for the metal will be there with a sign. So
I do have a question. Are these still pieces associated with the 9/11?
Yes, they're actual steel, structural steel that was given to us by the Port Authority back in like 14, 15, when Robert Stinson, the old chief, had applied for it, that him and his son drove down. So that's why we're wanting to make sure we incorporate it according to the agreement that was made with the Port Authority and Chief Stinson at the time, so. But they're so twisted and hard up, we're like, man, what can we do with them? And it's gonna be kind of hard to put them in like different places, and so this is what we come up with. We've kind of been pondering it over the year or so. Chris and I went out and twisted and turned and flipped the metal, and kind of like, our goal is to make it look like a 9. There's a piece of steel and another one that when they're set just right, it looks like a 9. So just kind of some sort of resemblance, because it's how it came down, it's how it was picked out of the wreckage from that day. So that's what we'd like to do, what we were hoping. I don't know if we need a motion or an okay or what. Last time we started the project, we came to the board, and but I mean, that was a lot bigger project when we did that. But we wanted to make sure everybody, city was included, and since it's on the fire department property, and I mean, we act like we run this place, but you know. So if you guys have any input, questions, I know the next association meeting is September, whatever the first Tuesday of next month
First,
is.
I think.
Yeah, September 1st. If we have approval from you guys, we may just go ahead and start on getting the concrete poured this weekend. Because like I said, we want to try to get it in before the 11th, which is all things in fashion with this whole project. Since we started, it is like a few weeks or days before the memorial. It's in and done, looks beautiful.
Yeah.
So that's kind of just how it's went. But if not, then it'll be put in after the 11th, because we don't want to start a whole bunch of mess before the 11th. So.
Okay, you do need a motion since it's on city property. So, I'd entertain a motion, Herb.
I'll make a motion that the city allow the fire department,
Association.
the fire association,
Association.
along with our firefighters, to continue with this memorial to complete using the material we were given.
Okay, is there a second?
Ooh, there's gonna be a fight. That's good.
Is there any other discussion, questions about this? Dean, you made the second? Okay.
Yeah, it'll be a plaque, that'll be the black with the steel that says just 343. As simple as that, nothing more elaborate, but to remember as you enter the facility, you know, the metal is to remind us every day of how things changed and what happened on that day. So it'll just be a 343 plaque that'll be placed, so.
Just as a question, I'm not sure, I don't know if I was here when this project was, kind of
I think
started.
you lived in the city, I don't think you
Yeah.
knew what was going on.
But is there anything else that they will need from the board as far as like budget or anything like that?
When we first started, even prior to my involvement, the association had fundraised
Okay.
T-shirts, coins. We still sell coins to support the maintenance and routine use, or not use, but painting and, mulch, when we can't beg it out of Chris. But to maintain it, we have the funds currently to buy the couple bags of concrete. I was gonna talk to Chris about maybe borrowing some of the concrete stakes, because I've got lumber. We've been really blessed, the whole project, where the community's kind of heard about it, the firefighters, the chiefs have heard about it. Matter of fact, the day we poured the new pad for the sign that's on the corner, because the poles busted over a really, really strong winter, it didn't move, a spring, summer day, it just kind of fell over. We poured a new concrete pad. I had 2 chiefs out there helping me dig it up. And then I had to go to work, and 2 of Chris's guys actually happened to be able to meet Northland, because they're like, hey, when we get a little extra concrete, we'll just come up and dump it. And was it Andy, or it was the older guy that used to work for you?
Right.
Rodney and his partner actually went up and finished the concrete, because I couldn't get back when the concrete was coming. So like, it's been a really group effort from everybody to do it. So we are, like we said, we're constantly just trying to make sure we put our best efforts for that, so. We actually, I don't know if Chief's gonna talk about it, but last week, Chief Knudsen, myself, Chris Grant, and the duty crew was interviewed by another news station.
PBS Channel 19.
Yeah, PBS, a newspaper, and he's gonna be doing an article, on it, that he's been doing around, because he went to the, memorial that they had down at Liberty, Memorial, with the big traveling beam that they had on display, where KCFD and a lot of others got together 2 weeks ago, I think it was. And so someone had mentioned, hey, have you seen Pleasant Valley's memorial? And so he contacted and got information, we got together and sit down, so we're just looking to continue that jive, because one of his biggest questions to us is, do we feel that society and generations are slowly forgetting about 9/11? And yeah, it is. So this is kind of our push to continue to integrate this. I don't know if we'll get any scouts involved in this little project that we have. I don't know what Chris Grant has up his sleeve some days. He'll be like, hey, by the way, I'm like, okay, cool. But at this point, this will just be something that we'll try to get done just because of the time frame. So, but it'll get the rest of that steel put out on display. So,
Any other questions? All right, clerk, call the roll.
Callaghan,
Yes.
Callaghan,
Yes.
Foltz,
Yes.
Page,
Yes.
Scarborough,
Yes.
Showers,
Yes.
Olson,
Yes.
Freeman.
Yes.
Okay. Any other public comments that I don't have in front of me? Alderman comments? Old business? Okay, administration?
Had a written report. The only two items that may require discussion are also on the agenda later as ordinances, the sewer rate study and the new copier agreement. So if anybody has questions about that, they can ask them now or when they come forward as ordinances.
What about the property tax hearing? Is that scheduled?
It's not scheduled because I don't have the right information. I mean, we can schedule it, but I hesitate to schedule it until I have the information.
Well, I don't want to get in a jam, not have enough time to get it properly posted before the hearing.
Lots of times, we have to have a special election or a special council meeting in order to get this accomplished. So,
Okay, so as long as it stays on our radar.
Oh, yes.
So the information that we're waiting on is in that sentence that says the notice for the hearing must include the assessed valuation by category of real, personal, and other tangible property, the amount of revenue required to be provided from the property tax as set forth in the annual budget, tax rates proposed to be set for the various purposes of taxation, the increase in tax revenue due to an increase in assessed value as a result of new construction and improvement, and the increase both in dollar value and percentage. That's that block. That was a lot longer sentence than I thought it was going to be. That block is what we're awaiting information on. Correct. Who are we waiting on that information from? The county? Do they have any timetable to give it to us, or just sometime before September 1st?
They always give it in, but it is almost always, in my experience, is almost always necessitates a special.
So what you're saying is be prepared for a last minute special board meeting before September 1st.
Yes.
Okay.
Administrator. It's not, it's not,
That's the only question I had. Thank you.
Okay.
sorry. Okay. That's it. That was simple. Fire department. Simple?
Simple.
Hey, you may come
we
up
like
and speak
simple.
then.
So, yeah, I did provide a report for this meeting. If you have questions on that. If not, I'm sure you're probably aware we did have a house fire on Brenda Lane over the weekend. I will provide a report for that when it's all completed. And so either next meeting or the meeting after, when I do my board report, that information will be available for you on that.
Was that just contained to that one house?
Yes,
Okay,
but it was, significant to get into the attic. If you've driven by there, there's a hole in the roof. I mean, it was definitely significant damage. So I'm sure the house might have to be gutted.
I drove past it today and they're trying to get everything out in the yard, out of the way.
Well, and the smoke ruins everything, so.
how many police department or fire departments responded to that?
So we had Claycoma on the initial, we also had Kansas City. And I was actually out of town, so I did not make it, but hopefully it was just.
Were there people inside at that point?
The homeowner was attempting to extinguish it with a garden hose.
Oh, okay,
So, again, I'll have everything
all right.
spelled out for you all. Yeah, so there was an issue with ammunition in the residence, so it was an interesting fire.
And no injuries?
No injuries that were reported to me. So,
Good, thank you.
Great, thank you.
oh, I do have one other thing. So, 9/11, so we are planning on doing a ceremony on that day, so that's Friday morning. I'm gonna say 9 o'clock is our start time. I think that's what we did last year, but I'll send something out. I would invite the board to attend. It's a short ceremony. We'll retire that flag that's flown over the memorial for the year and put a new one. So that's a neat one from me, right?
Yes.
I will leave the flag, yes. All right, thank you.
Jennifer, is it your feeling that we will have news media there?
There's a strong possibility, especially being the 25th anniversary. I can't think of a year we haven't had some sort of news coverage
Okay.
come in and do some pieces with us.
So it's probably a good thing to encourage residents to come up as well?
Yep.
Okay,
Absolutely.
we will make that happen.
I will put it in the flyer.
Okay,
And we'll probably ask this civic center to put it on the board. So,
that'll be fun.
And just to clarify the time, I think since the last bell ring event is at 9:27 Central Time, I think we are starting at 9:30.
All right. Jared, you're next.
Okay.
I think we got 40 minutes. We gotta figure it out.
Your turn. Good evening. Provided you with the car report in your packet. Pretty busy month. Any questions on that? Okay. You saw that in finance, we got some grant reimbursement coming. I was also just notified that we received the 2027 MoDOT grant. That will be $7,000 for reimbursement for officer overtime to enforce traffic. So that's another overtime possibility for our officers to get. And then I know Flock was brought up at the last meeting. So I was going to provide some information for you. A lot of it is in the packet, including our policies, some features that we do or don't have, and also the Flock contract that we signed, and the terms and conditions, a couple of stuff from Flock's website that kind of explain what Flock system does, their operating system, retention periods. But but I'll also hit on it a little bit myself. First, I think there's society as a whole has come to read something on the internet and take it as truth and the gospel and run with it without ever scrutinizing it or seeing if there's any truth to it whatsoever. And I think a lot of this, where it's coming from, is people that don't know the truth or what actually Flock does. They don't use facial recognition. They don't have Bluetooth. They're not listening in on our conversations. They don't take live stream video. We can't log in there. And because a lot of them are put near like daycare centers or parks or whatever. We can't log in there and see a live stream shot and watch the kids play.
I'm sorry, can I pause you right there?
Yeah.
My intention is not to pause you every
Yeah.
time, but
Okay.
that's a key sentence there. The research that's been done shows that the official accessing methods do not allow for live streaming. However, there are instances where those live streams can be obtained through security vulnerabilities that have not been patched within the system.
You're talking from law enforcement agencies? Or
No,
from
not
third parties?
from third parties.
Okay, so they hack into the system.
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
Yeah, there's been data breaches. Any technology can have a data breach. So they obviously need to improve their software, so it's no harder to do that. It's the same way with the argument that officers are going to abuse the system. It can happen. I can go downstairs and abuse the systems we have right now. It doesn't mean I'm going to do it. And we need to hold those people accountable that do that. And I think we will. But it's not going to happen. So another big one is they're selling our data to big surveillance companies. Flock says it's not. I have no proof that says that they are. We own our own data. It's stored on their servers. It gets deleted after 30 days. Flock actually just came out with a new security deal where they're going to recommend and set it to 7 days. We will go along with that. We're going to change ours to 7 days. Right now, we share with 143 agencies in the state of Missouri. We have restricted searches into our data to agencies in the state of Missouri, so nobody from outside the state can search our data. To access the system, you have to have dual authentication. You log in, it sends a thing to my phone where I have to prove it's me and put in a code. I log in, and then it has a notice to yourself that you're accessing possible CGIS information, and you're to use it appropriately per policy by law. So recently, since March, we've used it to identify a shooting suspect, a stolen auto that actually Clay Como picked up and pursued it and arrested the driver. A hit and run accident, identified the suspect 2 weekends ago. And then we had a felony domestic assault with the ramming of the vehicle, and that's how we caught them and figured out who it was and just showed really great evidence to help prosecute him with 2 felonies. So it is good. It is a tool that lets us develop leads with very limited information. Leads that we wouldn't have unless we had the Flock system. It's a tool on our duty belt that we can wear and use legally. And I don't believe it is a violation of the 4th Amendment. You're driving on a public roadway. The license plate that's on your car belongs to the state of Missouri, not you. I don't know if you knew that or not. The driver's license that you carry belongs to the state of Missouri. Okay, that's why we can take those things from you when you violate the law. When you get a DWI and you don't want to blow in the breathalyzer for us, we take your license and send it back to the state of Missouri. So I think there's a lot of stuff going around that is just being blown way out of proportion with the system. Is there a possibility that this could be misused and then doing something with our data that we don't know about? Of course. But if they do that and it gets leaked, this business is done. And it will get leaked at some point as they're doing it. So I don't see a reason, if you were even thinking about it, to get rid of this contract or get rid of the license plate readers. I think it's a great tool. That's obviously going to be your decision. You're the board. I'm not for that, and I'll stand by it until I find out otherwise.
How, do you have how many instances we have used the license plate
Yeah,
reader?
so like I said, our data gets deleted after 30 days, so I did a 30-day search. I think we used it, we searched 32 times, no, 52 times.
In a month?
In a month, and I believe it was 34 of those searches were for 3 different cases. So a bulk of them were just for those 3 cases. We switched up how we searched the vehicle multiple times, and so most of them were for 3 cases. So we don't use it very often. Now ours, before we switched it to just the state of Missouri, our network, because they're all intertwined. So let's say sheriff's office out of Texas wants access to our stuff. We deny or accept them. So once they do a search and they search all of their agencies they've shared data with, it hits on ours. So they're not specifically looking at ours, it's just searching the network that they're tied in with. But it was used quite a bit, and I don't have that number in front of me. If I do, it's in here somewhere. But it was a lot. I'm talking like 500,000. But that's nationwide. And you got to think there's 570,000 law enforcement officers in this country. So that's less than 1 per officer per month.
Where are our cameras at again?
Well, we still don't have one up. That's another thing. So Flock is not going to charge us this year. And I haven't seen a bill for this year, but there's one going at 69 Highway by Ravina. There's one at North Church and 76th Street. There's one right in front of Quick Trip. And there's one on Pleasant Valley Road and Together. Is that fine? No. We will have 5. Right now we have 4.
And what's happening with the 5th one? We don't have the
Yeah.
equipment yet?
Well, that was the longest piece, and now MoDOT has changed the way they've done these requests. So a guy's called me like 2 or 3 different times, says he's coming out to do the inspection, because you got to mark it and do all that stuff, and I never hear back from him. It's never been in place, so. Yeah.
From an HR standpoint, does everybody who has access to Flock in your department and any other department, is there a policy as far as the ramifications for misuse?
There is when you sign the CJIS notification, I guess, or usage agreement, I guess, with CJIS when you get your mules access. You sign something that, I mean, if it's a felony, you can get thrown in jail.
So that covers any.
Any access to CJIS information. We also have a ALPR policy. I don't think it necessarily states in there what could happen.
You should have put tabs on your stuff.
Kind of. ALPR information gathered and retained by this department may be used and shared with prosecutors or others only as permitted by law. One thing our policy needs to be left out, and Mr. Gallagher pointed this out, that all it says in our audit about audit, it says our policy about audits says that they should be conducted on a regular basis. That probably needs to be beefed up a little bit. I'll probably change that to be once a month. So first of the month, I'll just run an audit and see what activity we have on there. We have a captain too. All of our officers do have access to this, and our dispatch supervisor. The other dispatchers do not.
So on that vein, I would like to see a standardized format that we follow, whereby we look, pulling an audit report off the system, I don't think goes far enough. tying those individual queries to a case, making sure that they're relevant to the case, that they're actually tied to that case, timely, relevant, I think is important, because use of the system can be, I'm not gonna say fudged, but if it asks for a case number, you can put a case number in, but then determining whether that query was relevant, I think is really important to help ensure that the queries are actually relevant to that case. And so having, I think your policy says the patrol captain performing this, using a standardized form whereby they look through the audit log, determining who, what, where, when, why, the big questions, and then ensuring that they are relevant to each individual case. You said it was 3 cases for the last 52 or 30 days, 52 searches. It shouldn't be that difficult. I do appreciate that you're going to recommend doing it on a monthly basis. I think that's a good cadence. And then it's just the end of that audit is kind of a verification of, yes, our use of the Flock system, our officers' use of the system has been consistent with policy. It has been relevant to cases, stuff like that. Is that your goal for that audit?
I mean, it sounds very intensive to me. All this is doing is taking a picture of a car and a license plate. It's not taking a picture of the person, it's not searching the person. The system does nothing besides take a picture until we tell it to do something. And then all it does is pull up that picture and give a date and time and location. That's all it does. It's not taking a picture and tracking where you're going out to eat or where you're going to church or anything like that. It takes a picture of your car on a public roadway. So, I mean, I guess we can if that's what your request is. But to me, it seems very, I don't want to say a waste of time, because like you said, I mean, it can be misused.
And it has been, like there's been over what, 20 cases of law enforcement officers around the nation who have used the search function in non-relevant, non-law enforcement capacities. I don't know.
I guarantee you there's probably 2 or 3 times that have been arrested for whatever reason doing other things on our systems that they weren't supposed to in the same amount of time, but you're not hearing about it. Why? But why this all of a sudden?
All I'm saying is that any system that contains CGI, just like Mules is very regulated, this also needs to be regulated. And I think that's the level of an audit that we do require of a system that we use. Not that it takes our pictures. I don't care about my data. I care about how others could use that data to paint a picture of a person's habits, of a person's destinations, of their habits. It's how the system is used on people. That not how Flock uses it. That's a bigger question. We're not going to figure out the answer as, put on Pleasant Valley. Don't take those words wrong. We're not Kansas City. We're a fairly small department with 5 cameras, and I want to make sure that our officers are using the tools in the right way. We're not tasing people's faces. We are using the ALPRs in a way that is consistent with our policies. And an audit, I think, is really important to make sure that commitment is being upheld. It might take some time. It takes some effort. But tying queries to active cases or closed cases, I think, is really important.
What available fields are there in the software for inputs, notes, that sort of thing? If there's anything, I don't know.
Just thinking about car, color, make, model, license plate. If there's any, I think there's an open one you can type in, like it has a Kansas City Royal sticker in the back or the bottom right window. That's what I mean. You can put it out anything you want. It's like as detailed as the color goes.
So putting something pretty simple like this is the case, and this is why I'm looking at this specific one, would that kind of
Like a journal entry.
So the case numbers are there.
Yeah,
that's not the question.
A little bit more.
But it's on a regular basis. Once you have the operational distance from the case, You're not stopping to do an audit in the middle of a police chase. Within the month, you're going back to that case, hit and run. Hey, we got out, we talked to the guys who were involved, said it was a 2005 red Camry with license plate that ends in XYZ.
So
Cool.
it's the
You go
why portion of
into that.
who, what, where, when, and why.
Yeah, and having a supervisory level person go to that case and say, yes, this query for a red Camry is relevant. Yes, this query for the ending of a license plate was relevant to it because that person on scene said this. Tying all of those queries back to the relevance and not surreptitiously throwing in, oh, I'm going to call this a search off of this case number, but it's actually for a 2002 Dodge Caravan that my wife's driving. You get what I'm saying? Okay, I don't want Pleasant Valley it's a tool, it can be used with responsibility. I don't want it to be on yet another list of law enforcement officers misusing it.
So Chief, I have several questions. One with this, when you pull the information, does it automatically like give you like a title and you can add your comments or something like that? Or like you just said,
When you do the search?
yeah, when you do the search, can you do, what I'm thinking you could have a field, so to not make additional work, that's what I hear. You don't want the extra work when you're trying to protect the city. But if there's some way, I don't know if Flock can do it, just add like officer this time X, Y, and Z. And then you could type it in right then, just an idea. And then I had a question about your email that was sent from Flock on August 13th, 2026. You mentioned today we are updating our recommendation and default to a 7-day retention and introducing evidence mode. And since your goal and what I heard, and let me know if I've understood what you're going to do. You're going to do an audit once a month. But I guess my question is, it's only a 7-day retention. How would you do an audit once a month? I just want to make sure I understood.
Yeah, I guess
Where
that
we're
would be,
going.
yeah, if we left it to 30 days, I mean, you would have to do it every week if you would do 7 days.
Yeah.
That evidence deal they're talking about, from what I understand, I haven't seen it yet, is it's kind of like what you do with our body cameras or in-car cameras. You can lock it, so when a retention period comes out, it doesn't delete it. So like an EWI that we want to save for 5 years, it doesn't ever delete until that 5-year retention ends. But a normal warning traffic stop deletes every 30 days.
So is there any way you could confirm that, how that works, so that when this implementation of the 7-day retention, you have that option that you mentioned?
Yeah, well, we're not going to change it to 7 until we are positive we have
Okay.
everything in line.
Sounds
And
good.
that's what we want to do. But that's what I'm looking to go to.
Speaking of data retention, so the data retention is not for audit data. It's not the log data. They're not going to delete query log data after 7 days. But the image of the vehicle, the detection of the vehicle, if it's not flagged in a case or not downloaded to our server, it would expire after 7 days. But if a search was conducted on that vehicle or on that VIN, or not a VIN, but on that license plate, then the record of it lives way longer than the 7 days.
That's not what I've found out.
That's where.
So
we see
when I can
clarity.
only do my
Like
search,
this search,
if I can only do my search for what was searched for 30 days.
that's scary.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, let's do some more research.
Yeah,
on
we
that.
need to do some research, and so that as the chief and leader of the police department, that we know and we know how to support you, how to move forward. I think that would be really good to know what's going on with that.
Because Kansas City is much larger than us, would they not have more access to information regarding all of this?
I don't think so. As far as like the retention period and stuff. Flock and
All the
Beaver?
questions that we're asking.
I don't know.
I would start there.
Kansas City is not one on the rolls.
Yeah,
Is
Any
one-
other city,
Kansas City does not
And I don't-
follow most rules.
I don't know if they have flock. I think they were getting them, but I don't know if they've been implemented yet.
So is
They're above
there
everything.
like
They don't-
Kearney,
policy-
Blue Springs, Liberty, Gladstone, pretty much everybody around here.
but they're still smaller, as small as us kind of. Would a call to St. Louis benefit us?
I don't think St. Louis is gonna be any better than Kansas City,
Oh,
probably
okay.
worse.
Well, but
We
I,
need some research.
well, I guess I
I have a picture of that.
follow up on first what, the mayor was just saying. I don't feel that we have any lack of information. Like, there's nothing that we don't seem to have access to. So like, I'm not quite sure what St. Louis or Kansas City, like what kind of information, like we have all of the policy, all of their standard practice, our standard practice. So, I don't see
Well,
what
for
like Kansas City or
example,
St.
for
Louis.
example, if we want to go from 30 days to 7 days,
Mhm.
and we want to be able to keep that retention for 7 days, is there something out there that will allow us to do that? Or is that being checked in the background and they haven't brought it forward?
I-
That's what I'm looking for.
I would think, sorry.
I assume that'd be a flock question.
That was exactly what I was gonna say. I think those questions would probably be best, for Flock and for the company. So if we say, we want to do an audit for 30 days, but only retain the data for 7 days, is that something that you can do? I think that would be more of a, because Flock would be able to tell us what their system is capable of.
That's what I was getting at with the statements from the email, that we need to do some more research and ask questions that pertain for data management, as well as if there's a way that you can add comments. So when you're doing your search, you don't have to come back and do an audit because you already have the police officer's name, the date, the 5 questions are usually asked.
But
In the
I think
comment
if you do the comment section, you're still gonna run back to it.
I mean, somebody can just put in anything.
Yeah.
they want.
You can still lie about it, you know what I mean?
I gotta go back.
I think too, addressing, a follow-up for what Pat said, about what our audit looks like of this system, and, what he kind of mentioned as kind of beefing up that audit. And then I think, I kind of agree with where the chief is at. Maybe it makes sense for us to look at what are the current systems we have in place for auditing other systems that our city or police use, because I think what's feels unfair right now is that we have tons of systems in place where we have data is stored on servers as part of the nature of digitizing. Like now city records are kept digitally. People can then hack that information and access people's private information, but that's the nature of if things move to digital rather than just paper copies. And there's securities in that too, because people can come and steal paper copies as well. So I mean, I think maybe the greater question here is not just, hey, Flock, this has a lot of attention, so let's add this crazy audit process for this one system that we use, but then it's not anywhere near the auditing that we do for other systems. Like why is it that this one system, just because of attention in media or internet, is now having us spend tons of hours on auditing and whatever it is, where I think it probably makes sense for us to kind of mirror policies that are already in place for other systems. I don't know if, there is a difference in obviously this system versus other systems that we have, but maybe that's a good place to start so we can kind of mirror policy rather than like, let's make an entirely new process for this level of data, what would that be called? Retention versus other data retention that we have in place already.
So, I mean, another thing going on, if there are already systems that complement Flock or anything else that we're using, and it could be attached to a system that's already in our infrastructure, that could be one way of resolving it. And I don't know, and that could be a question that you could ask Flock, is there any integrated software that could work with their system, with your current system?
Yeah, Flock right now is a standalone. You
Okay.
can do add-ons. Like, I think I put in there copies of add-ons you could do. I don't think our RMS system was one of them.
Okay.
Anything else?
On a Flock good note, several years ago, I had a family member with dementia get a hold of car keys and take off in a car, and Flock wasn't as widely used as it is now. I mean, there weren't as many systems up, but it directed us to a path to look for this family member.
Yeah, there's lots of feel-good stories out there about Flock. Last week, Blue Springs, I believe, found an Amber Alert suspect and victim on I-70 using the Flock system. It has, it's a good tool, but I can see some worries about it, but not the way it's been blown up. In my opinion.
I've got a couple other questions. I'll try to keep these short and brief.
Surprise me.
On the email, Flock mentions a new feature that they are rolling out, offense filtering for sharing. When that is available for us, can you provide our settings? On the first page, a paragraph right above accountability says we are also introducing offense filtering for sharing. Now cities can choose which types of offenses are permissible for other agencies to access their cameras.
Gotcha.
So when that feature is available, can we see what it is currently set to and discuss our implementation support?
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry, I just got this right before this meeting, so I have a couple other things. I will point out on page 2, third paragraph, it says, in July 2025, we introduced an optional case code requirement for searches, which we see in the in the audit log. There's a column where you can put like CR numbers or CY numbers, and then we also have like internal city case numbers as well. I think the difference is once it's in like CaseNet or something. I don't know the rules around that, but I do see actual case numbers. I see what looks like city case numbers, and then I also see like fresh pursuit or hey, we don't have a case number yet, but I need to look this up.
So we don't make that a requirement right now for one of two reasons. Well, one reason mainly. For example, a child was hit with a car, I believe down there by Finley Park 2 weeks ago. Pulled the kid out from underneath the car, put it back in the car and took off. So we heard it was coming 35 northbound. So we didn't have a case number for that. It's not our case. Excuse me. But we knew it was coming. It was going to go by a Flock camera somewhere going up 35. We have one right here on 35, right over Pleasant Valley Road that Clay County has. So right then we didn't have a case number. But like I said, we knew it was going to hit a Flock camera. So we put it in there. Didn't get hit or anything. But that was a case where if we had to have a case number, we wanted to be able to search for that car to try to intercept them.
Switching it to mandatory, does that remove the ability to put fresh?
I don't think so. But I'd have to look. I don't know if it's just number oriented or you can put letters.
Okay. Looking through the log, our officers have been really good about putting case numbers in it. You can see that column right there in the middle. Lots of 26-069, and then a handful of freshes. But then you get out of the freshes and the ones with case numbers, and there's a number of them that don't have anything in them. And those are the ones that probably either should go to fresh or have some other designation that designates the reason why we don't.
Yeah, there's no drop down box.
You have to,
Well, I can find the audit logs in Flock are pretty much permanent. So even if the other data is removed after 7 days or 30 days, whatever time period, the audit logs are still available. And if we require officers or whoever uses it to put in a search reason or other data, then that would be permanent as well. So I think that would probably be the tool you want to use in monthly reviews or whatever.
Yeah. In our policy 421.3 ALPR operation, subsection F, It says, if practicable, the officer should verify an ALPR response through mules before taking enforcement action that is based solely upon an ALPR event or alert. So I'm sure you've seen footage, body cam worn footage of people who have erroneous, it's a bad detection, it misreads the license plate, and officers took that alert as gospel and treated it as a felony stop when there was nothing wrong with them. It was the case of a bad ALPR read.
Yeah.
And I don't want Pleasant Valley to be one of those where our body camera footage is being played on Fox 4, see how they treated these guys. What sort of training and what sort of procedures do we have in place that's beyond just if practical?
Yeah, the if practical is mainly in there. We're a pretty tiny city. So if we see a car and we don't have time to run it through wheels before they get out of our city, we may not run it through wheels to confirm it. That's really the only time. We run it through mules to make sure it's still a good warrant or whatever it's attached to, so on auto or whatever. That's really the only if practical why that's in there.
Okay. But you can understand the sentiment of not putting somebody who hasn't done anything wrong through a felony traffic stop.
Oh, yeah. And that happens without these two. Is
Yeah.
We pull up behind somebody and run the license plate. And I mean, kind of the same thing, but yeah, if practical, we have we run it through wheels first.
And on that vein, do you guys take some of the like broader body cam footage that gets thrown around news stations about situations that involve block cameras and use that as training to be like, hey, be aware of this, let's double check?
Yeah, we haven't, but we all see it on Facebook, and no, that's an unfortunate incident, and don't want to be put in that position.
Yeah.
But we don't sit there and talk about it in roll call or nothing, but I mean, it's all over Facebook and any other news outlet that they're posting this stuff on, so that we can.
I'm not telling you what to do. Recommendation, I think it would be important to have the sort of how like when we have incidents that our guys are on, either after action reviews, what did we do great, what did we do wrong, what can we improve upon, how can we make this the next time we see the situation better. I think having a more structured discussion, professional discussion, training oriented discussion with officers of other communities, hey, here's the situation, what did they do good, where did they mess up, what can we benefit from that? I think having structured training like that would be useful. And I would say that to police, I'd say that to fire too, public works, like that applies to everything. See what other people are doing, see where they mess up, and see where we can take some learning lessons. And have that as a structured training rather than, hey, I hope you guys saw it on Facebook.
I mean, we do that, but not with these license plate reads, for instance. So.
Yeah, I think it's so, the system is very new, relatively speaking. And I think more focus needs to be put on using the tool effectively than, hey, we've got this really powerful tool and we have some semblance of training around it. I think we just need a more structured training as it revolves around. I think it's important enough to dedicate the time and resources to train properly.
Just a follow-up question for Pat, from Pat's question to Jared on that. Would you say that already falls within the training that you do about officer conduct? Because I mean, I would assume it's very similar to, you have a car that matches a description and then you pull that person over and it's, it's just the same car, very similar car, whatever. Or you have a person that matches the description of another person, they left from a homicide, whatever it is, in the way that I would assume that kind of falls in line with the training that you already do with your officers and the way that you treat people when you have a description match or something. Like we're now looking at, well, this is a license plate match or it's a picture match. I mean, that's, I imagine, in the same vein of
Yeah, we do.
other scenarios.
We had one the other day that an officer got hit for, I think it was a felony warrant, and I don't remember what for. Ran it through mules. Warrant was active. was for a gentleman, stopped the car, it was a female, immediately let her go. So, there are still cases where that's gonna happen. They advised her at least, I guess, multiple times for this male, and won't remove the warrant from the car for whatever reason. I won't tell the city that it's warrants out.
Because that's just where I could see that it could be redundant, where it's like, we train as a, to use all of these tools in a certain way. So just because flock is basically like this, again, the same thing happens if a car is misidentified or a person is misidentified, but because it says flock, now it gets on the news because they use the system and that system is grabbing headlines. So, I mean, from a PR perspective, I would say that's more of the concern, where I would assume that this already falls within the training that police officers should have and how they treat people and yada yada. But I think maybe, Pat, your concern is more just, hey, this is something that like news, media, whatever is looking for problems. So because it's connected to flock, you want to be extra careful that we're not ending up in headlines somewhere, which.
And not just for headline's sake, but also for the situations that you put people through.
Yeah.
Potentially our residents, potentially nearby residents, people, just people. Thank you for answering questions. I'm sure we will continue having discussions.
Yeah, the stuff on your table there was stuff I found after I had sent out the packet. So.
Thank you.
Sarah, I'm in this book board.
Mine's definitely not as fun as his. So you have my report. I will say, so the new judge was supposed to start officially for this past docket on the 10th of August. And due to a family emergency, we did use a provisional judge we have, Judge Rose. And the new judge will be in hopefully this week sometime.
And he had a death in his family, is that correct?
He did get a death in his family, and then he went on vacation and got stranded somewhere. Oh my God. There's been a few they kind of all just teamed up on him at the same time. So I just need him in this week to do an operating order that's due for the state.
Okay.
So he'll be in this week and everything will be situated, and we have court again next week, which will be his first court.
Okay. And how much is on the docket at this point?
250 cases.
Okay.
I did a very low amount for this past docket to kind of
Ease him into it.
implement everything with him. So I couldn't really back out of the one I set after.
Okay.
It'll be fun.
We'll see.
Questions, Sarah? So you said your docket looks like 250.
Uh-huh.
So the report that you provided shows a backlog. Can you describe what the other 1,750 cases are? So I'm looking at municipal division summary reporting form, cases at the beginning of the month, cases at the end of the month, 38 alcohol, drug traffic related, other traffic. So we've got a lot of other traffic stuff. Is that part of the amnesty program that we try to do, or not amnesty, but
So if you see pending at the end
Yeah.
of the month, it could be my cases at warrant. It could be cases that are on the next few dockets. It'll combine everything into that, and then you also see outstanding warrants at the bottom that are just active, the 2,346. So I have not done amnesty yet. For this season, mainly just because we were easing in the new prosecutor and the new judge, but I feel like in March, I'm just gonna throw it out there.
okay. So yeah, I was just trying to reconcile 2,000, well, it's all actually almost 3,000, 2,700. versus the 250 that are on the docket. And I know you can't possibly get through 2,500 cases in a single day.
But yeah, no, it's any active cases. If I have them at warrant, if they're on the next 3 dockets, if they're out there and they're still active, it's gonna be on the report.
Thank you.
Anything else for Sarah? All right. Okay, Chris, you're up.
So I was asked to put this report together for the sewer line. It was after the information for the packet was due, so sorry to add more paperwork to a very thick packet. But if you, and this, I'm sure I'm referring to this. That first picture shows kind of in the middle there, you see that anaconda looking pipe. That's obviously the exposed line. And then the second picture, I don't know, I'm kind of explaining this because I don't know if you all had time to read it prior to this. But on the second page, that photo shows the exposed pipe is about 6 to 8 feet to the left in this photo. The Mother Nature took the stream and kind of it carved its own path in a C shape. So it's coming, the bottom of the page would be north and it's flowing south. And obviously it's hitting that mounded up dirt pile and it's shooting 90 degrees to the left and it's slamming into the bank where that pipe is and scour it out and expose it. According to Keith Guines, who lives, this is his backyard, this is his property, both sides of the stream, and for a portion north and to the south, this stream used to flow straight there. So Ron and I met Sunday morning and we went down, Ron being the city engineer, our city engineer, went down and looked at it. Mr. Guines joined us after a bit. That's the second time I went down and looked at it. The first time was when I took these photos, but and Ron got his eyes on it and he's currently putting together flow numbers, flow volumes, and he's gonna quickly put together a plan to do the repair. When I first looked at it, I said, well, I'd probably come in here with an excavator, dig that mound of dirt and bring it over back on top of the pipe. Talking to a couple of dirt guys that I know and talking with Ron, that may or may not work. It'll depend on some of the numbers that Ron digs up on his studies.
And that would be like the force of the liquid that's coming downstream. Is that correct? The flow is?
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes. So simply by excavating that mound out and moving it essentially out of the path of the stream, or in this case, creating a new path for the water to flow, you're taking all that energy away. And it's not going to be turning and slamming into that bank and scouring out and exposing the pipe.
And do we know for sure that that pipe is Pleasant Valley's?
Yeah.
It's not Liberty's interceptor pipe?
It's not Kansas City's.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, no. And I don't know that because anybody from Kansas City called me back because that would be an act of God.
Having gone through that with the sewer rates, I can concur.
Between them and MoDOT, it's like they might as well just cancel their phone and save a bunch of money.
I have a question. How
Yeah.
old is the pipe and what's the size of the pipe?
Late 70s.
And is it like a 6?
It's an 8-inch inside diameter pipe, 10-inch outside diameter
Okay.
pipe.
So would it?
which is kind of standard for our, what you would call a trunk line.
Okay.
The interceptor's 10, 12 inch in places.
Okay, and then I just have a question. With it being built in the 70s, should we have a concern in replacing it and redirecting the stream to ensure that we don't have runoff or potential issues? Because you mentioned earlier that there's potential for leakage and just preventing it if you're gonna work on it.
So that section of pipe, along with numerous other sections, was just scoped and televised
Okay,
8 months ago.
so it's in good shape?
No issues.
No
We
issues, okay.
we went from manhole to manhole. This is about in the middle of, if you look on the last page of this report, it shows you where that section is in that black circle. And that's between manhole 161 and 162, which, if you look inside the circle, 245 linear feet from manhole to manhole. The section of pipe exposed is 21 feet. I wheeled it off. And it was, so we went from manhole 62 to manhole 61 8 months ago, and there was no issues whatsoever, no. And then when you're on site looking at a pipe that's exposed like that, you would smell, you'd have an odor, you'd have a rainbow or prism looking slick on the top of the water. So we know we don't have issues with that. I walk all the time between the trails between Brighton and Indiana. And that's Gulf Kansas City stuff over there. I walk by 6 to 8 pipes exposed like that are like 30 to 40 feet long. And I guess they're not concerned about it,
But we're concerned.
but yeah.
I said, but we're concerned.
Well, yeah, I mean, it, not only would you have some environmental issues and possibly, but you would have some, you'd have people with that service.
So what are the different options again?
Say again?
What are the different options to fix it again?
So what Ron's looking into and what we've discussed are on,
Page 3?
yeah. He's concerned about the volume numbers may prompt us, or we may want to build a concrete wall on the stream side, or what would be the west side of the pipe, spanning the length of what's exposed. Or possibly use what's called geogrid. You see it a lot of times when they build stone walls. It's a matting that keeps stone in place. Or just possibly having the geomat put over the pipe, then riprap, which riprap is stone that's made to certain sizes, 4 to 6 inch, 7 to 8, 10 to 12. It's used, you see it all the time, stream side and all. So anyway, he'll get back to us on that. I believe the attorneys have said we just need to get 3 bid numbers. We don't have to do a whole 30-day. And then we do need to reach out to Army Corps of Engineers to have their blessing on changing.
Now, when you say blessing, is there a piece of paper that we sign with them?
Yeah.
Okay, so that's gonna have to come before the board
Yes,
to do that.
yes. And then we would also have a temporary construction easement
With
document
John's.
signed by the property owner. The equipment that's gonna need to go down in his backyard to do this work is gonna be like your large excavators on track. Yeah. So it's not gonna be a little backhoe or a little mini excavator. He mentioned, I've met with him down there twice already, talked quite a bit. For those of you that don't know, he's a super good guy. But back years ago when the Army Corps engineer came through Pleasant Valley, knowing that there's gonna be a very large housing addition and multiple businesses being built on 152, all that runoff they knew was going to be headed our way. Us being Valley, we get everybody's water. So they came in, the Army Corps engineer, and they laid back the stream banks and opened them up for more water coming from the north. And when they did that, Keith himself planted a lot of birch trees and other trees along the bank for bank stabilization. So he's probably gonna want a few trees planted back. It looks like, and I know John was down there and looked at it too. For the machine to get in there, there's gonna be 2, maybe 3 trees removed. There's 2 8-inch round, approximately, trees growing up out of that mounded dirt. That'll, of course, have to be plucked out. But the couple on the bank, that'll have to be moved just simply for the width of the machine to get in.
I have one last question. What's the depth of the stream in that area? Do you know? Is it like less than a
Like the
foot?
OHW original height of water is 3 feet.
Okay.
Yeah.
And with the Corps of Engineering, will they have to go out to assess it and will we be billed for it? I'm just curious how that process works.
I've never had to approach them for anything like this, so I don't know, but we'll know within the next, hopefully by the end of this week, actually.
Thank you.
And
Are you gonna reach out to the Army Corps or
Ron's gonna reach out.
And he knows we want to get this done by the end of the year.
I had that conversation
That's good.
Sunday morning. Yeah, I told him, we talked about that. So it's kind of one of those FYI, you guys, and we'll keep you posted.
And is this the first exposed pipe we've had since we put the pipe in? The sewer pipe?
No, there was one on North Elm behind McLaughlin's years.
Oh, yes. Okay, I remember.
Right by what the bridge, the culvert that they put in. That tributary.
Yes.
That's mostly dry,
Mhm.
only flows when it rains, washed out a 2.5 foot section of pipe. And it was, they fixed it by just taking concrete in the bag and you just set the bags down on both sides and on top. And you put dirt over it and you walk away. That's the only other spot that I'm aware of since I've been here.
So that was a smaller length.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it was also, it was a 6-inch line. It was a 4 or 6-inch, it was a 4-inch line.
Well, that's pretty good for, 50 plus years of sewers in our town.
Yeah, and I say this all the time, anytime a company's come into town and scope our sewer lines, they always say they're in really good shape. Does that mean they're gonna last forever? No, but Ron and I and all of them think that we have a lot of life left in our lines, but at the same time, you know they're not gonna last forever, so I think it's a good idea that you're looking into setting money aside for repairs, especially because what I told you earlier about what it would likely cost to replace our whole system. So,
Okay,
that's all I got.
thank you.
All right.
Okay, treasurer's report. Matthew, would you update where she's at and try to get into the system?
Well, I guess the only update would be, working on her getting remote access to Encode, which has kind of been a challenge, but as of this afternoon, that is done. She has the access she needs to.
Okay, thank you. And that will allow her to start working on the pooled cash portion of our accounting system. All right. Sorry, guys. Personnel committee, anything from you all?
I don't have any actual reports, don't have any recommendations yet, but just to let everyone know, just the topics of discussion, we're still the compensation study, still under review, so we'll update you guys when that's done. And then we were asked about the police chief being brought back to a salary position. It was
Something outside?
Huh?
Someone outside?
No, it was, so previously the board had temporarily made the police chief hourly. The board previously.
Seriously?
Because of being understaffed and overtime demand, whatever, but we are now at a staffing point by the chief's recollection of what they had originally said, that is past where they wanted to keep him hourly and then switch it back to salary. So we don't have all the information on that, so admin is looking into kind of the, what the past board actions were. So we have some information based off of what their previous wishes were, as well as legal requirements, and then they'll bring the personnel that information, and then we'll bring the board information and the recommendation. So just in the early phase, that was just introduced at the last meeting.
Okay. Do we have the preference of the chief? Was that discussed in personnel?
We didn't do a discussion on it because we did not have information about what we legally can do and what the past board had said they were going to do. So we want to get that information first. In the next meeting, assuming we can get that information, which I assume we will by the next personnel meeting, we'll have the bigger discussion about what, the city would like to actually do.
Okay.
So.
All right.
Patrick, we were, I can't remember, Serenity, you and I were on the board at that time, right? Or no?
Maybe I didn't know what I was doing at that time.
It was like right before I joined.
That's perfectly honest.
It was when Pat first joined and right? It was a little
It
bit
would have been
before
like within the first 3 to 6 months, right? Like it was early on in my board history.
I can't remember, Chief, did you come, I can't remember if you came up with some sort of idea about that, or, okay.
I would rather we wait for.
That's fine.
To get some of the actual information, that's
I
kind
just
of what
wanted
we
to
get
make
at
sure
the
I was
personnel,
remembering
so that
correctly, so.
we can kind of save the big, long discussion until we have just some actual historical data to work with.
Short answer, yes, I made a request to go that route.
Okay.
Yeah. Yep, okay.
Currently?
Back when I was hired in 23.
Okay. All right. All right, I've set papers aside. Finance?
Everybody has a budget summary in their board packet along with updated charts. Nothing looks abnormal. I sent a couple of questions over to Matthew over the weekend. This is nailed down little oddities in the budget. So if you notice something, feel free to hit up Matthew on email and call out some stuff. I didn't see anything that really warranted a full discussion with us. We are entering budget season, so Matthew and I sat down and nailed down a date where we're going to have informal meetings with the department heads to go over your guys' objectives for the next year, your financial needs, and nail down some of your initial budget numbers. That's scheduled for August 31st. So be prepared
It goes with
On a
Labor Day.
month end.
On the last day of the month, yeah.
Mm-mm.
That's unacceptable.
It goes with Labor Day, Sarah.
Month end. That's all I heard.
So again, looking at estimated expenses, looking at what equipment you guys have, what your capital improvement requests are gonna be for the next year. Starting to put those on the paper so that we can get an idea together. I'm just an observer. Matthew is going to be running it. But I think having all of the heads sitting down at the same time will help make the process hopefully painless. So that's all the stuff that I've got.
Less painful.
Less people, it's always around, okay.
All right,
Sorry, John, did you?
new business, anything?
A reminder for our next meeting will be on a Tuesday after Labor Day, not Monday.
And it's like 3 weeks.
Yeah,
Instead of 2.
the 8th of September will be the next meeting.
Thank you for that. Any other new business? All right, let's go to our consideration of ordinances. Matthew, would you please read Council Bill number 3662?
An ordinance approving an agreement between the city of Pleasant Valley, Missouri and Leading Great Rates LLC for professional services relating to sewer rate analysis services.
Okay.
So move.
Well, yes.
Okay, any discussion regarding this? Okay, clerk call the roll.
Gallagher,
Yes.
Callaghan,
Yes.
Foltz,
Yes.
Page.
Yes.
Scarborough,
Yes.
Showers,
Yes.
Olson.
Yes.
Freeman.
Yes.
Read the title bill out loud of Council Bill 3662, please.
An ordinance approving an agreement between the city of Pleasant Valley, Missouri and Leading Great Rates LLC for professional services relating to sewer rate analysis services.
Okay,
I move we accept Council Bill 3662 as ordinance 3661.
any further discussion? That was Dean, did you say? Second it? Okay. Clerk call the roll.
Gallagher,
Yes.
Callaghan,
Yes.
Foltz,
Yes.
Page.
Yes.
Scarborough,
Yes.
Showers,
Yes.
Olson,
Yes.
Freeman.
Yes.
Just to let everybody know, we have started on this process with Mr. Brown with an initial phone call to see what everybody needs to be doing. So. Matthew, please read aloud the title of the bill, 3663.
An ordinance approving an agreement between the city of Pleasant Valley, Missouri and Sumner One Inc. and authorizing the mayor to execute the documents on behalf of the city.
Okay. Motion in a second.
So move.
Second?
All right, discussion? Clerk call the roll.
Gallagher,
Yes.
Callaghan,
Yes.
Foltz,
Yes.
Page,
Yes.
Scarborough,
Yes.
Showers,
Yes.
Olson,
Yes.
Freeman.
Yes.
Okay, motion's approved. And we need to do it again.
An ordinance approving an agreement between the city of Pleasant Valley, Missouri and Sumner One Inc. and authorizing the mayor to execute the documents on behalf of the city.
I move we pass Council Bill 3663 as ordinance 3662.
Second?
Okay,
Let Becky have it.
everybody likes this ordinance.
I've got one question.
Okay, go ahead, John.
There was discussion in here about moving a machine from to downstairs, or copier or something.
Yes, we, as part of that process, we did a walkthrough of admin, police department, public works, fire station, and so everybody in those departments was involved in what made sense to do. There's a couple we're gonna eliminate altogether, and there's gonna be some moving around just for the best use.
Okay.
When is this happening?
At the end of the month, just for you.
Great.
The 31st.
Because we're staying with the same company, we're not bringing in new devices and learning, so there won't be training necessarily involved, so soon. Because I'll let we had 4 groups give us bids, so I'll let the other 3 know when I'm going with them, and let some of them want to know who we are, but soon.
Okay.
Gallagher,
Yes.
Callaghan,
Yes.
Colts,
Yes.
Page,
Yes.
Scarborough,
Yes.
Showers,
Yes.
Olson,
Yes.
Freeman.
Okay, at this point, I'm gonna entertain a motion to adjourn.
I move we adjourn.
Before, I just, one point.
It's too late, I motion.
Sorry. Just for everyone's sake, the part, because the meeting is gonna be after Labor Day. So to let you know that the fire department is planning on doing our boot block for muscular dystrophy on Labor Day weekend. So we will be out probably at the 4-way stop again, Saturday and Sunday, collecting. I think we raised $3,000 last year, so hopefully we'll
Cool.
do as well this year.
3001.
Yep.
Sorry, can I share something that I forgot to? On last Thursday or Friday, there was a contracted company that sets out construction cones and whatnot for construction companies getting ready to do work. Asked the guy what's going on. You might have saw the delineators across the street from Quick Trip running towards
8601.
running towards Casey's.
Liberty, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Their Tandem Paving has the job, Tandem Marshand is getting ready to do our job.
On the east side of 69 Highway?
They started this morning. The guy setting the cones out told me that there's a company, they're coming to pave. He didn't know who and all that anyway, so I looked into it further, found out it's Tandem. Well, they started this morning, way down Liberty Parkway. At the, used to be the dog leg where it ended, coming our way. I was told that they're meeting us at our city
Limits?
limit in front of Quick Trip. Which
We can
obviously then after they pave,
review it without you, or
they'll
reschedule.
they'll be sparking the paint lines.
Yes.
We want to
Those wait are
reschedule.
terrible.
Yeah, so trying to confirm it, I know that they physically started at the dog leg and came about, they made it almost to Casey's.
That's good. It'll fix those 2 bad spots right in front of Quick Trip that are still on
Yeah,
state
so
highway.
anyway, just a heads up for you emergency people. If you guys are being asked by residents and all that, I'll try to find out more and let you know. But anyway, just wanted to do that.
I move we adjourn.
Second.
Okay.
No one else, right?
Second, please call the roll.
Gallagher,
Yes.
Callaghan,
Yes.
Colts,
Yes.
Page,
Yes.
Scarborough.
Yes.
Showers,
Yes.
Olson,
Yes.
Freeman.
Yes.
I'm gonna ask all aldermen to leave these 2 pieces of paper on the trash pile, please. You received them.
We can't figure out what piece of.
I think I think
Taxes.
John may have the relation with National Advocacy work.
I don't think we have those.
Yeah, I think, I may.
You brought them up with yourself?
Well, they may have been in my file.
Okay.
That's just